Hey everyone, and thank you once again for tuning in this week for Dee's Talk. Before we get started, I just want to say that I was informed that Dee's Talk sounds like detox. I definitely don't want the name of my show to sound like detox. So if anybody out there has any ideas for a great name for the show, please let me know. Do not hesitate to DM me on that, and we'll see where it goes. Hey everyone, I have my friend Keena here, and she was in an interracial relationship. She has a biracial son. His name is Grayson, and I brought her here just to kind of ask her a few questions about her own experiences in being in an interracial relationship and with somebody of a different culture. So, Keena, I want to know everything about Matt. Her ex's name is Matt, by the way.
Matt is a great person. Sweet, kind, caring soul with lots of layers to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very, very.
She said
kind.
layers.
Lots of layers.
Means everybody.
Lots of layers. I'm sure that'll be for another episode what the layers are, but just a very kind-hearted person.
Okay.
He was he's born Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of tradition in his family that I was very much attracted to. Yeah, he's a great person. He was a great person. He is a great person with lots of layers.
I love it. Wow. Okay, so what we have here is we have African American and Jewish, and both sides have a lot of traditions, but the culture is very much so different.
Mm-hmm, very much.
Right? Mm-hmm. So in adapting to that culture and those traditions, did you ever feel like it was overwhelming or overpowering?
Both. I would say both, because there was a lot of traditions that I was not used to, mm-hmm. and very much overwhelmed.
Okay.
And not in a bad way. Both, a little bit of both.
And now, does his family live here, or
his mom lives here.
His mom lives here.
Mm-hmm.
So
his dad passed away.
Okay.
A little bit shortly after we met.
Okay. So once you guys, are enthralled into the relationship, mm-hmm. and now you're adapting, mm-hmm. right, to all of these traditions and things like that. You have Grayson. Did they have the takeover spirit?
No.
Or were you still the queen, the forefront?
I was still the forefront.
Of everything. I love it.
But
so
his grandma was very supportive.
Okay.
Grandmother was very supportive, even though there was many layers to her son, which is Grayson's father, Matt. Mm-hmm. She was very supportive. But it was kind of like a little bit mixed
with the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so what were the grandparents' role now in Makai and Grayson's life?
Grandma loves both Makai and Grayson. So she played a very great role in their lives.
Okay.
My sons look up to their grandmother.
Okay. And so does Makai still keep in touch with, what's her name?
Lynn.
Lynn. Uh-huh. So Makai still keeps in touch with Lynn and sees her as grandma.
Mm-hmm. He does.
Wow. And so now, how long were you guys together?
We met in 2013, and it's 2022.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been 9 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So then she played a huge role in Makai's life since they're so far apart, the kids. And what about the grandfather before he died?
He played a beautiful role in Makai's life before he passed away. He didn't get a chance to meet Grayson because he already had passed, but it was beautiful with Makai.
So did he teach Makai all of the traditions?
He didn't teach him all the traditions, but he did so many things with Makai that I was just like so grateful for, because I was like, oh my God, like we are entering their family and he's treating us like we belong, Right. And that was just beautiful to me.
Now, did you have any issues outside of family when it was you and Matt outside? Did you ever have any crazy experiences with people saying anything or doing anything out of sort because they're seeing an interracial couple?
No,
Wow.
not from other people, but like I said, like within the family, there was already layers, not race related. So those experiences, yes.
So you're like, whatever the layers are, the color of my skin was the least of my unhappiness, is what, at least of their unhappiness is what you're saying.
Yes, at least
right?
I think. From what I,
from what you know,
from what I know,
you've experienced.
From what I experienced, nothing to do with my race.
Wow. You're blessed.
I like to say so.
You are absolutely blessed. So there are still good people in the world that don't see color and just love people for who they are. And that's what this show's about. Love, respect, and sometimes just agreeing to disagree. In terms of, your kids, she has an older son,
14 years apart.
They're 14 years apart.
20 and 7 now.
What would you say how would you say you raised the two of them differently in terms of race? What do you teach Makai differently than you teach Grayson?
Well, I think with Makai, because I had him at 18 years old, I feel like we grew up together. So it was just like we grew together. Me raising the child, I was growing and learning a lot. And Makai adapted to those changes as well. So we just kind of grew up together. As far as with Grayson, having him 14 years later, I felt like I was able to be more nurturing, be more present, be a parent, not rushing. But Makai, I felt like was just like, I was in survival mode.
Right.
Very much survival mode with Makai.
What would you say, or who would you say Grayson identifies with?
To be honest, I want to say me, but he sees both me and his dad. So I mean, he's not really questioning like, "Oh, mom, you're black, dad's white." He's just he doesn't see color right now.
That's really interesting.
So I don't think he identifies with one or the other. But I would say me, but that's just not where he's at right now.
Okay. And then with Makai,
definitely me.
Of course,
because we're
right?
Both, yeah.
So you're both darker. Did you feel any tension between Makai and Grayson?
Not at all. They're like best friends.
Oh.
He really looks up to his big brother.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you've done a great job.
I think so.
You've done an absolute great job, because I will tell you, if I ask my son Kennedy who he thinks he is, or like a celebrity that he identifies with, he tells me he's Drake.
Oh.
And I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well, that kind of makes sense, right? Because Drake is, biracial, and he kind of looks like him in terms of like the hair and the skin tone and stuff like that.
My older son has a YouTube channel that Grayson watches all the time, almost every day. I'm like, oh my God, like he really looks up to his big brother.
Oh.
And Makai's black.
That's beautiful.
Grayson's biracial, so yeah.
And have you had any issues with Grayson yet at school, or anybody saying anything?
Not at all.
Wow.
I know, it's pretty rare, because I have some friends who have kids the same age as Grayson who is struggling with the racial divide at 6-7 years of age.
Wow. So with that being said, as your relationship with Matt, Grayson's dad, progressed, and things got a little sticky, right?
Very sticky.
Did you ever feel like Matt was doing things in a way where it was like, you felt like he's taking advantage because you're Black? Whereas if maybe he was with somebody who was white, he might treat you a little bit differently or do things differently?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I definitely didn't feel like that he was like that. I definitely didn't pick up that, I'm being treated a different way because I'm Black. Because he has such a great heart. Okay. But that is an excellent question.
Well, yeah, because I feel like sometimes in relationships, right? the way that if you're with the same race, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way they would react to something would be one way. And when you're with the opposite, the way they react to something is completely different.
I agree.
And so sometimes it's like we think about those things and I'm like, I wonder if they would react that way if I was white or vice versa.
That is a great question that I have yet to explore with him. But wow, never thought about it. Never thought about it. Never questioned it.
Listen, guys, this is like a rarity. I'm telling you right now, like I am just so impressed because a lot of people who are in interracial relationships, I mean, even in my own interracial relationship, I have had so many trials and tribulations with family members on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and culturally too, I think sometimes it's hard for the other person to adapt. So with Matt being Jewish,
Mm-hmm.
how was it with you adapting to his culture?
I wanted to learn more about the Jewish culture. Unfortunately, things just took a little bit of a turn.
Mhm.
But I was like, I think I really admired the Jewish tradition when I met Matt. And so I wanted to dive into deep with that culture, but I ran out of time.
Mhm.
Things just went a little bit of haywire, and I wasn't able to tap into that.
Okay, so we've got Matt. It seems like other than the layers, right?
Mhm.
Everything is peachy keen.
Mhm.
Have you ever dated anybody else
I
that
have.
is out of your race where it's just been like, oh my God, like what in the what is going on?
I have.
You have.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So I dated my last relationship about a year and a half ago. Fun, amazing, a little roller coaster ride of a relationship.
That's foreplay. It's
okay. Look, like I had my fun.
That's just foreplay.
And then the fun was over.
Oh God.
Okay, so he just recently reached out because it was Grayson's birthday and he wanted to reconnect and he wanted to tap in and say, happy birthday to Grayson. Can we get together?
Wait a minute. So he's tapping in
Mm-hmm.
to check in,
Mm-hmm.
but how long have you guys been separated?
It's been over a year.
So why is he tapping in now?
I believe he's single.
Oh God. Okay. And he realized what he was missing.
He realized what he was missing. And then he did tell me that I said, why are you reaching out now? And he said, because his girlfriend at the time, who's an ex, felt very threatened by me and wanting him to have no communication with me or Grayson.
Okay.
And
so
she's a white
woman.
woman.
And she's white. Okay. Let's go back here for a second. So how long were you guys together? And how long was he, how long was he a part of Grayson's life?
He was a part of Grayson's life for almost 2 years.
Okay.
So I met him when Makai went to college. And Makai's in his third year in college.
So he's invested. If it's 2 years, he's invested with you. He's invested with your son. Right?
He was with Grayson with some nice peak years for Grayson.
Okay. So now you guys separate. And this new one is like, hell no, I don't want you a part of this girl or her son's life.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
I was totally okay with that.
Uh-oh.
I was totally okay. When I'm done, I'm done.
It sounds like he's a little crazy. So
he's been reaching out a lot lately, and I don't really, it's just like,
he wants to move back in.
I don't go back.
Well, we can't. The past is the past, right? The past is the past, and we broke up for a reason.
We broke up for a reason.
Okay.
But he did tell me that his ex-girlfriend was very much threatened by the love he had for me and my son. Very much
That's
threatened.
Interesting. So that means that there's been lots of talks about you and your son with the ex.
Yes.
Huh. Well, you made an impact.
I guess so. I didn't realize.
You made an impact.
If
he's talking to his new girl about his ex-girl.
And I assured him, I said, you should have maybe assured her that, listen, I am not a threat. I'm not coming for you. And he said, I tried to, but she was just like, If you reach out to them, it's over. I'm like, well, she just wasted her time worrying.
Wow.
Because I wasn't checking for you, nor looking for you, nor want to look for you. If that makes sense.
Right. So you were like done.
Done.
So do you often feel like in these interracial relationships that white women can't handle it or they don't like to see it? Because I find, like, in my own experiences, Black men, when they see my husband and I together, they have a problem and they show up and show out every single time. And I find that sometimes white women will have an attitude as well, but of course, for the opposite reason, right? So have you experienced that? Do you feel like that?
I mean, I have not. And maybe I'm just in my own little bubble that I just kind of like.
Well, I mean, it's definitely happening in this particular instance, right?
Yes, and I had no idea. I was like, and I was actually shocked. I was like, oh wow, well that's new. I've never felt like. I never compared myself. Never said, oh, you can't talk to your ex, or blah blah blah. I never felt that way because I have like my friends. They have a diverse group of friends.
Right, and you do what you want to do anyways. Like
I don't even
say, I can't talk to this person.
I don't see color. My white girlfriend, my Asian girlfriend, my Mexican girlfriend, we're all the same. I don't look at it like that.
Right.
So I was a little thrown off that he said that his Caucasian girlfriend was like very threatened by me. It just was like, okay, wow. I had no idea.
That makes you the queen, baby.
I guess so. Wow.
Anyways, regardless, so you have experienced some things with interracial relationships and a little bit of pushback from the other side.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit,
but nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy. I wouldn't
nothing
say
you can't handle.
Nothing I can't handle.
Right.
I just ride the wave.
And you just keep loving everybody.
And I keep loving everybody. Listen, been there, done that. You know, a hardship won't stop me from going where I need to go.
No. Can't stop. We can't stop the train.
Can't stop the train.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in once again to Interracial Relationships Part 2 with my girl, Keena Marie, and of course, your host, Deventrya. If anybody out there is in the Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tempe area and needs permanent cosmetics or laser teeth whitening, make sure to go to juvenibeauty.com and check in with my girl.
Thank you.
I am on all social media sites, so please feel free to DM me with questions or experiences that we can discuss and work through together. If you'd like to be on my show and you have something amazing to share, don't hesitate to contact me.